2006? You need a remake to this horrendous movie? Are you that sick? I need a drink. Michael! Get away from the road! I have to have two eyes. I do have two eyes. Remake. Nice Winnebago that you got. Did you get it from the chef of Haddonfield? Because he's incompetent. Nuclear fallout is explored in this movie that turns children to creatures from the Goonies and makes them eat people. Did it need a remake? Did we need to see the same story? I don't know. I'm not a director. But again, the conversation stands. If you are this and you go off the beaten path, you're dust. Stay on the beaten path. Watch your maps and GPS. Disappointed in humanity. What have we come to? A bunch of Facebookers and GPSers. You can't even read a map. Mike, Jay, do your best.
Hey guys, welcome back to Wham! We watched a movie. I said, God damn! I wasn't setting it up for you, but that's fine, Jose Canseco. Jay, Mike, gonna bring you another horror movie for this horror movie month that we're doing. Hills Have Eyes remake, 2006. He's smoking, that's why he's a skull, but let's not worry about that. So the Hills Have Eyes remake of 2006. What can we really say? I mean, you can base it on comparison. That's what we're going to do. We're going to compare it to the original one. Now, the difference with this movie, I will say, first off, the big difference, the glaring difference, it's very clean. This movie's very clean looking. You can tell they have a bigger budget. You can tell that the actors are better. And also, the special effects are in like 1,000-fold better than what they had in the original one. They actually show the deformed creatures living in the hills. And they also have a little story at the beginning talking about how nuclear tests were done in the desert from 49 to like 60 or 50 something. And that, you know, the miners were, or the little mining towns were forced out and they ran to the mines and their children's children became deformed from radiation fallout.
Nothing scarier than those.
That was good.
Babies, dude. The babies are scary.
The babies are scary,
Ugh.
and you only
those
learn,
are real shots. Too.
And it was cool that how they did that. You only know that story later on when Big Bob comes back to the gas station and he's looking at the newspaper clippings, and it all pieces together. And you're like, oh, that's what happened. So
and the big difference is this one is the guy at the gas station clerk. In the original one, the gas station clerk was trying to quit. He was like, I'm tired of moving, fucking Jimmy Dick. But in this one, the guy is a piece of shit still. Like, he's still helping the people, and he's trying to send people their way. And then you got the gnarly shot. One of the main things I remember now, I saw this one first. I saw this one back in 2006 when it came out.
Yeah.
The funny thing about that was this was back when they first started doing the unrated DVDs. It was a big deal back then. Back then, it was the first time they did something like this. You had the movies that would come out, but then they would release the DVDs unrated, and you'd be like, you thought it was a big deal.
It should be called like "Don't Tell Your Mom" edition.
Yeah, it was like that was back then when I was like, oh, this is actually X-rated. This is unrated.
Yeah.
This is gonna have some nasty shit in it. It was like 2 minutes of extra footage or something like that. But one of the main things that happened is the gas station clerk goes out into the porta potty or the outhouse, and he's sitting there, and the dad, it's fucking crazy. He's the guy from Silence of the Lambs, man. He's fucking awesome in this. And he goes out there and he shoots himself with that gun. And when he shoots himself,
oh my God, yeah,
it's so fucking good, man. It looks so realistic. His fucking head splits in half, and like that shot. I haven't watched this movie in like 10 fucking years, and watching it, I remember I was like, oh, I can't wait to see that again because it's good. It's fucking gnarly.
Also, I like the family dynamic. I think that it was shot better in this one than it was in the original one because I feel like maybe the actors were better so they could do the script more justice. Because I didn't feel like Bobby, and I think it was because they cast Bobby younger. It actually felt like a sibling relationship rather than like an incestual flowers in the attic kind of like I'm gonna fuck my sister later kind of moment.
But you did have the thing with the main guy. Well, that's the thing. They had the grace of better, clear dialogue and better actors and stuff, like you said in this, and better makeup and shit like that. It did lose the grindhouse effect that anything could happen sort of feel. But again, this movie succeeds the same reason the original did, and the fact that you've got a baby. The guy fucking rips the bird's head off like fucking Dumb and Dumber.
We didn't mention that really quick. The parakeet in the 75 version looked a lot more realistic to me when he ripped its fucking head on and drank its blood than in this one.
It's gnarlier, it's clear shot, you can see what's going on more, and that makes it almost dirtier in a way. But yeah, it's missing the grindhouse feel. It's missing that anything can happen. It almost feels like you found a VHS in your fucking grandma's basement and you're watching it and you're scared. Sure, it's missing that aspect, but what it gains is the fact that the actors are more clearly understandable. Everything fits together a little bit more. You can see it clearer, and it's one of those few movies it's a good horror remake. It's done fucking well.
Every time
deny that.
I've watched this one and I watched the original and I've watched the sequels and shit too. Every time I've watched this, it's like, you know, the isolationism, the loneliness feeling of the movie. I'm like, how did you guys know that I live in a small town in Kentucky? and it really does. And those rednecks and those hillbillies, it just, they really scare you to a point because they give no fucks. Their whole mindset, their whole living is eating people and fucking living off, you know, stealing tourists' fucking jewelry and shit and selling it to their, you know, granddad at the gas station, which I'm sure he pawns somewhere else and fences it. It was cool though to see in this one because you only got a little hint of it a little bit later. I don't even think in the original they hinted at it, but they really didn't show it. In this one, when the husband goes off to look, you see the abandoned cars or all the cars they had towed to this area. And, like, you know, he finds, like, not corpses, but...
Radio Shack.
You can tell, basically, that they've been doing this for a long time. And probably that gas station idiot has been sending them all their way. And then when he finds the town they live in, the nuclear town, that shit...
It looks like that level in Call of Duty.
It looked, yeah, it does.
Nuketown?
Yeah, well, also, yeah, Call of Duty, and Indiana Jones 4.
Yeah.
Why didn't you get in a refrigerator? You could have been okay. But it does. It's freakier, and I like to see that. I like the idea, like that they have a little place that they go, and I don't know, man. Like again, the makeup effects were so well done in this movie, and it wasn't just Pluto. Pluto looked really good. I think it's Pluto. It could be Lizard. I don't know. They changed their names a little bit, but he looked fucking awesome. And then that one dude, the one dude that really freaked me out is the guy that's in the wheelchair with his head all hanging back.
Yeah.
And he's talking, and I guess he's the brains of the outfit. He seemed like it. That part freaked me out. Like, and then just the fact that they throw him in when they catch the husband in there, they throw him in like a cooler with a bunch of bodies and shit. I don't know, man. Like, it's really greasy feeling to me. It's just like, god damn.
Yeah. Again, I saw this one before I saw the remake, so I'm a little bit skewed. But the points that this movie loses in that it's not their original idea and it's not so grindhousey, it gains back in the fact that there's a clear dialogue. I can relate to these characters a bit more. The dad's fucking great, being the, you know,
he's great,
he's fucking Wild Bill. He does a great job or whatever. And there's just tiny things that they do. Like, one thing I didn't like about the original was the whole gadget scene where the guy goes out there and he goes to the trailer and the trailer blows up. Sure, the trailer blowing up was better in the original.
Yeah.
But then they set him up with the starting the car and the rope pulling his leg. And this one, they just went straight to it, and they, you know, she fucking puts the pickaxe in his brain, and I like that better. I like the way that they did that.
Well, not
better.
just that though, also because the sister in this one wasn't as screamy victim as she was in the original one. It was just annoying in the original. She's like, like every 5 minutes, like, shut up, bitch. But this one, she kind of gets her balls and like she pickaxes the guy.
And I found it entertaining that the boyfriend seemed like such a dick. He was the one. He's like, I just want to sell cell phones or whatever. And they made him seem like such a dick that you had no idea he was going to be the survivor. He was going to be the one to go save everybody. In the first one, I didn't get that feeling. In this one, I got that feeling. And it was a surprise that he was the one to actually go get the baby. Also, in the first one, it was so much easier because the girl just brings him the baby.
Yeah.
You know. And then in this one, she brings him the baby, but then the dude drops down. And he has to have the fight with him. He has to kill him or whatever. And on top of that, when he comes back, the only thing that really bugs me about this movie, even more than the first movie, is when they take his fucking baby, man. Like, they take your baby. Like, I have an 8-month-old daughter, so watching this, I'm like, oh, fuck, this is horrible for me. But when they kill the girl, they shoot her in the head or whatever, and she's still sort of alive. It's just dude, it's so gnarly, and it's so, like, I hate it, and I want to punch him in the fucking mouth for doing that. But at the same time, I respect it, because I'm like, you guys are putting me in a situation I'm not used to being in movies, whereas I'm actually scared. In any other movie, I'm like, they're not going to hurt the baby. When I'm watching this, I'm thinking, fuck, that baby might die. It actually scares me.
dude, there was that scene was bad, and then the scene where I keep wanting to call him Mars, and I know he's probably not Mars in this one, but one of the main guys of the hillbillies, when he's sucking the girl's titty because she's milking.
Oh man, that was
and she's lactating, and he's literally like mama's milk, and he's sucking on her tit. Like that got me,
and she has to sit there.
I was like, oh god, dude. I was like, need shower and zestfully clean.
What's so bad about it?
Fucking, like, I got like nasty feelings.
She has to. What's so bad about it and so fucking psychologically damning is that she literally, it looks like she's letting him do it because he's got a gun to her baby's head. There's a guy at a moment in this movie literally holding a fucking gun to a baby and licking her like.
Guys, listen.
She has to sit there and fucking take it.
He's sucking her lactating tit for fucking milk.
If you brought me the script, I'd sit it back, I'd wipe my ass with it and throw it in your face. I'd be like, no, I'm not fucking making that.
I was like, did Rob tell me to do this?
But at the same time, you have to respect it because they were ballsy enough to do it, and then they just fucking kill people. It's so goddamn
ruthless. And by the way, we know that you don't see milk coming down or whatever, but it's implied that that's what he's doing.
And the only thing I take away from this movie, again, like I was gonna say, is that the boyfriend who goes on the crusade, like they killed your fucking wife, they killed her mom, they killed her dad, they fucked you in so many ways. It's insane. I wanted more redemption. I wanted him to go into this town with the gun and the bat and fuck people up. And he did a little bit, but I wanted death sentence with Kevin Bacon. I wanted the Punisher. I wanted the fucking hardcore revenge, Hostile style at the end of the movie where he cuts the guy's throat in the bathroom. I wanted that. And I feel like instead of that, it was more of like he escaped with his life and he saved the baby, sure, but I wanted revenge and I never really got that.
I got a pretty good satisfaction out of him because he did start out, kind of like prissy dude hanging out in the desert. He sells cell phones, and Big Bob and Bobby are making fun of him. Kind of. He's like he doesn't shoot guns because he's a Democrat. So he's like, oh yeah, you could, and he's like, yeah, I don't want to do that. And then he comes back all fucking bloodied and badass after he does what he's got to do in the nuke town, and I liked it. I thought he did justice to that character as far as what probably Wes Craven wanted him to feel like in the movie. Now, the original one. I will say one of the more brutal ones. I don't know why it just stuck in my head is when the one dude that's like in the wheelchair, like his head hanging back, when the dog comes out and rips his ass apart. I felt fucking like Game of Thrones. Yeah. Like Ramsay again getting murdered and brutalized by these dogs because the guy can't move anyway, and this dog's like. And also, maybe it makes me a less of a person, but dude, I hate it when fucking Beauty died in this one. Yeah, no. I had to fast forward.
That's how people are, man. Dogs and babies.
I know. It's just like fast forward, but I can't fucking hear that. I can't hear that whining. Yeah. But it was still, man. I mean, overall, this movie is. I think it's a pretty worthwhile remake. I'm not. I know people hate it because it's not bringing anything new, and the story is literally lifted.
But it's a movie that could have used an update.
But it is an updated movie, and that's why I'm going to give this movie a 7.0 myself. Like I gave the original a 7.5 for the originality and the grimy and grittiness of it. This one's going to get a 7.0 because I think that they brought to the forefront the vision that Wes Craven really had for this movie, and so for that reason alone, it's a 7.0.
I'm right there with you, man. They weren't scared to hit the same territory points that the first movie did. I think this is one of those few remakes that deserves its place, and I gave the first Hills Have Eyes a 7. I give this a 7. I think the points I take off for it not being the original, it gains back, and what extra it did. I think it was the first one I saw, so maybe I'm a bit skewed on that, but I think it's a damn well-worthy remake, and I think it's a movie that could have used an update, and they did it well. So comment down below, let us know what your fucking thoughts are. What do you guys give both movies? Do you like which one better? Which one did you see first? Comment down below, let us know. We love your fucking faces, and if you're new to the channel, click that subscribe button and get some goddamn wham up.
Stay out of that desert, fuckers. No Winnebagos.